All right, my youth, you done know it. Oh shit, my bad. Cultural appropriation. Anyway, Eminem has just released his brand new revival album. I hope he revived himself. I hope he revived the Marshall Mathers LP and put elements of it and sprinkled it into this body of work. How realistic is that? Not very realistic at all. But I've got hope alive, just like Martin Luther King used to say. And you know, I'm trying to be optimistic going into this body of work. Now, from what I've heard, the thing leaked yesterday or 2 days ago, and people were telling me on Twitter they were a little shocked, not in the best way. But I've eliminated all those thoughts from my mind, and I'm trying to go into this non-biased because I love Eminem. If anybody on this site is giving him more respect, I would say it would be me. Being from Michigan, Detroit specifically myself. Oh Jesus, that scared. Oh my God, yo. Being from there myself, I really want nothing but the best for any artist from Detroit. But Eminem has shown to have a very inconsistent history with rap, with hip hop. So I really want to make sure that I'm giving this the proper amount of time, the proper amount of attention. I hope he delivers a solid body of work because we need it, man. We need it. We can't get another shoddy album from you, Em. We can't. I don't think I can take it. You know, I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to live my life, be satisfied. But it's like having a son you know is never going to live up to everyone else's expectation. You know, he's just a disappointment as a person. And I'm not saying that's how you are. Yeah, you're a disappointment as a person. You know, accept that. Everybody is in their own respect. In their own regard, everybody's a little bit of a disappointment. But you have a responsibility because you know what you have to do. You have to come in here and go off. That's all you got to do. That's all I require. So without further ado, we got Eminem, Revival, album, hot take Shawn C. Let's hop into it. Because I'm scared. Oh, you thought I wasn't? I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Dear Lord, I pray. Track number 1 was Walk on Water, features Beyoncé. I walk on water, I know Jesus. I'm old now, people don't like me as much. I'm not the same rapper I used to be. That's the song basically. So let's go on to track number 2 called Believe. Actually, I believe the end, we're gonna see if my theory was right, and we're gonna see if the end of Walk on Water plays into part 2 of another song. Track number 2 is Believe, so we're gonna go to the last 10 seconds of Walk on Water and see if it plays into it, because I believe it will. I said that couple weeks back.
But as long as I got a mic, I'm God-like. So me and you are not alike, bitch. I wrote
Stand.
And I started from the
I knew it.
Like a snowman, round up like round chuck.
I knew it.
I just got that air about me, like wind chimes. Yeah. Another day in
no.
life.
You just use an air freshener line, Eminem. What's wrong with you? You putting Glade on these bitches?
Remember the days up. Minimum wage for begin since I'm mine up. Look how government assistance is made up.
He's on beat though.
You so close, got it like through it. I'm lit in that attitude. I blew up on quick. That's why they call me firecracker.
I'm lit.
But this middle finger's free as a bird. New war-headed birds. Turn cause 4-letter words are more better. Heard the workforce better. Turn to me. Get it yours? Since cleaning out my closet when I was having trouble with the snare. I'm that unrealistic prayer answered.
I love how he referenced that because in the beginning of cleaning out my closet, the first thing he says is, "Where's my snare? Where's my snare? There's no snare in my headphones." And now on this, he's like, "Since I haven't since cleaning my closet, I was having trouble with my snare." That's funny.
You still believe?
And what? What are you asking me? Oh, okay. I mean, I guess I'm listening to your album.
Man, in my younger days, that dream was so much fun to chase. It's like I went in place.
Still going. Okay, Believe, I think, is a track where Eminem is going back and forth with himself, or back and forth with the older version of himself, or maybe his belief system, or maybe it's, you know, his representation of what God might be, or maybe it's his faith. Whatever it is, it's something within himself that he's arguing with, basically so that he doesn't become complacent. He looks at himself and feels like he needs to remind himself not to get comfortable, even though he's already proven everything he's needed to prove. And it could be a shout to other artists out there that are complaining that they're not in a certain position. He's telling them to work harder and be smarter, be hungry, and have that drive about themselves. So I'm not mad at the track. I think it's really simplistic. I don't know why Eminem doesn't have like this enjoyable hook factor, but you know, it is what it is. I like the song, but the hooks just kind of interrupt the song to me. They don't really help it, in my opinion. Track number 3, Chloraseptic featuring Phresher.
A piece of paper. This rap shit got me traveling place to place. You barely Simon Cowell, Brian and Foul. That's why you sound so lyrics, weapons, expert.
What happened?
Like Chloraseptic, and you got strep on too complex.
Grabs a crown of my dick and blows me to kingdom come. Till I feel anointed. You got the prettiest eyes. Boy, all you're getting is bright.
What? I get it, you know, Chloraseptic, throat, yeah. But still, I like the Phresher feature, and I think you know, M does well enough for his first verse. I think the rest of the song just goes on for entirely too long, to the point where he's talking so much that it's like, stop at this point. Not to say that like you don't have anything interesting to say at this point, but you're talking so much that it's becoming cringy now. Like you're giving me a little bit too much. Now you've lost focus of the song and you're just going. It seems as though he just says random things that take you out of the element of the song entirely. He's talking about her eyes, like what? I don't understand this track. Track number 4, Untouchable. We've already heard that one. I discussed it on the channel already. Lots of people have their issues with that one. You know, in context of the album, maybe it'll fit, so I'll judge it different based off of my initial full listen. Track number 5, which is the one I've been dreading for so long, is the one with Sheeran. I hope it's good. Let's get into it.
Being a lover, being a cheat on my jackets and dress slacks. Mismatch on his breast jack. He's a sex addict and she just wants to exact revenge and get me my Gwen Stacy, despite a man. And I know she's using me.
I'm trying to pay attention to the concept, but from the song so far, no, not feeling it.
I got you, I don't want you. Took advantage of my thirst to pursue it. Protection for a bit into your forbidden fruit.
Okay.
Made you terminate my baby. This love triangle left us in a rectangle. What else can I say?
I like the point of the song, and from what I can see, I think he's gonna be giving like these little stories that can easily be like defined or represented as America. Like this kind of thing happens a lot. Basically, this woman is already being cheated on from her man, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna get him back, I'm gonna cheat too. She goes online, I guess, to find some guy, and Eminem's being represented as that guy. They go, they have their flings, they keep going for longer than they were supposed to, develop a whole relation. Can you not text me right now? And the guy ends up leaving her anyway, and Eminem, I guess, you know, them having so much fun, she ends up getting pregnant when he wanted to end things, and he makes her abort the baby. I mean, I guess this is the American way. Lyrically, I wouldn't say it's very dense. It's very straightforward. Sheeran, I think, ties the chorus together well enough. I just don't like Eminem trying to rap over these songs. Like, it's so awkward. It really is so awkward. It's like he's trying to make fans who aren't comfortable with hip-hop be comfortable with rap by putting his raps in songs that cater more so to that demographic. In terms of the sound, in terms of the pop features, that's what it feels like it is right now. The point of the song is cool, and contextually it fits into the point of the album, I would say, so far, but what is it supposed to say? Like, you're disappointed that Americans have abortions? Is that what you're saying? Like, they're stupid, they make dumb decisions? Yeah, they do that. Track number 6, Remind Me, intro.
You make me crazy too. You make me do things I normally wouldn't do.
Oh, really? Track number 7, Remind Me.
Yeah.
Oh, nah. You've got the I love rock and roll guitar little amplifier thing in the background, and you're like scratching it like with the remix and the DJ. I think that's cool, man. Like, I hated that song when I was younger. I think her name is Joan Jett or Joan Jett. I used to hate it when I was little. As I got older, I learned to love it. But that high level guitar, like those two in the very beginning, like Eminem, you already get brownie points for that one.
Big old tits like Anna Smith. Bodies bananas and you got an ass that won't quit. So get on the horn, my saxophone.
That is the most narcissistic hook ever. Love you, mind me of me.
Your booty is heavy duty, like diarrhea. The plans to bring it to my house. You're drinking Jack and Beam. I'm thinking soon as
booty is heavy duty, like diarrhea. That is the most disgusting image I've ever seen in my life. Can you have Haley go over your bars, please? Like, just for this song specifically, I don't want to hear no more of that.
if you're thinking that, need casa, su casa. So yeah, you're a cute fox.
Yeah, this is my house. This is my house. Not
Kicked me in the balls and told me to screw off, and that's why. In the sky, girl, you're so fucking fly. You belong in the Mile High Club. So come on, baby.
you belong in the sky because you so fly. Man, Haley, go over these bars. I like the song. I like that there are multiple references, especially to the jukebox from the actual song I Love Rock and Roll. Again, Eminem is, I guess, trying to make, like I said, those people that are so engrossed into that genre of music more comfortable with rap, but this is the only artist who can get this sound from, so I don't know if this is more so just for himself or for the genre too. But I think it's an intentionally cringy, narcissistic song where Eminem is in love with this female because she reminds him of himself, and I mean, he references himself wearing a shirt with his picture on it. There's some bad bars in here, some filler ones, of course. Also, I like how in the song it's like remind me, because this song is basically like somewhat of a rendition of I Love Rock and Roll. So you remind me of something that's very enjoyable, which is another thing that's narcissistic, but I think that's intentional. Track number 8, Revival Interlude.
I've drowned and high from the ashes now.
Track number 9, Like Home, featuring Alicia Keys. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, so far this isn't doing anything for me, or what. Like, I'm just gonna keep going.
Who's been on this trip with me?
I haven't been on the trip.
But if you feel like me,
I don't.
get this area in a sheet. Time to bury him, so tell him to prepare to get impeached. Everybody on your feet. This is where
Oh, God.
Fox News like a parrot and repeats while he looks like a canary.
Eminem, we get it. You don't like Trump.
He's trying to divide us. This shit's like a cult, but like Johnny, he'll only unite us, cause nothing inside us drives us like this record. That's what we get pride from. This type of pickle that we're in's hard to deal, but there's always tomorrow still.
Oh,
If you
no.
stop from
No,
scratch,
no.
let's get-
This, did he just say this type of pickle we're in is hard to deal? Y'all cool with that? This is really a whole diss song to Trump right now. This is the whole. I love Alicia Keys on here though. I love her right now. It's a little, and I don't view Eminem in this way, so don't take this the wrong way, fan base of his, because I'm a part of the fan base. All right, we're together on this, but let's be real with each other right now. That was pitiful in regards to what he already said about Trump in his BET freestyle. This was a pitiful attempt to try to go back at Trump again. And I get the point to say that this is my home. You just shouldn't be allowed in it. You know, this is land of the free, home of the brave. I get where he's going with it. He's essentially saying that Trump should be impeached, basically. We shouldn't have to leave the comfort of our country and our home because we have a guy in office that's just an idiot right now, okay? Or what's perceived to be an idiot, because I don't want to insult the man, but he's not the smartest or the wisest president out there. Look at the most recent bill he just passed in regards to taxes. Stop it. He'd rather work hard to rebuild this country as opposed to go start somewhere fresh. And I get where Eminem is coming from. But it's just, what are you saying to me? Is this the political statement? Is this why your album cover is that? Was this the song that was supposed to drive that message forward? Like I said, hot take, Shawn C here. Hot take. Track number 10, Bad Husband, featuring, yeah, this is another one I was worried about.
Was it after we knew that we were done and actually through?
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think people categorize you as the person that you exist as in context to their life. Like if you've been bad to them, yeah, you'd be a bad friend, but that doesn't mean you're a bad father. That doesn't mean you're a bad husband. That doesn't mean you're a bad brother. You're just a bad friend. But I get that most people connect that to other aspects of your life because it's hard to believe you could be a good father and then be a bad friend, because they would assume that these qualities will follow you in every aspect of your life, but they don't all the time. So it's not safe to assume someone is 100% one way when they might just be that way with you.
Cried a lot. I never forget when you came home and you held Haley. Why are you good father? More in love than you was for all the times that we thought it worked.
It's like envisioning your dad. You know, my parents never got married, so it'd be weird to see my dad trying to come on to my mom like 22 years later. It'd be weird, you know. It's not like a bad thought. It's reasonable. It's a reasonable thought. It's just not something that I would assume anyone would profess. But hey, It's Eminem. Track number 11, Tragic Endings, featuring Skylar Grey.
Selfishly addicted, definitely doesn't help that she makes me feel like I'm doubting. But I'm okay though, cause I know she loves me. My friends, what do they know?
It's like I'm drowning at sea, hoping that
They don't believe her out of me and show me the way now. I'll stay the fuck out of my cloud or cause
I'm drowning at sea, hoping that you'll reach for me.
block the door, so here's how I do it. Since I'm a new one, she's a sewer.
Alright, another track where Eminem is detailing something that happens pretty common in America, where there's an abuse situation and the person with the person really? That's what you're going to use to describe the situation? They are in a relationship that isn't healthy, and they continue to stay there because I assume their confidence or their belief in themselves is so low, and it turns out tragically. You know, they don't pay attention to the signs, they don't see the situations they're going through as abuse, so they stay with it until something really terrible happens. Again, I get it contextually for the album. Is it a good song? No. Track number 12, Frames.
Shorts, freaky tales. Yeah, having creepy visions of whiskey drinking.
Okay.
Sneaking into where Christy Brinkley dwells.
Okay.
Eloquent murdering females.
Okay.
Pay attention to these
Wait, no, that's not what I meant. Hold up, chill.
Man, he hears you, I don't think he cares. He gives a fuck even if pinky swears. Up to the body parts in front of Stephen Avery's trailer.
I know what this looks like, officers. Please just give me 1 minute. I think I get it. I murdered nobody. I know the
Collection of it, collecting newspaper
God,
articles.
man.
Seconds from it. Memories
He's perfectly on beat here.
Of this stuff with this winter, probably 'cause the
I love it. The beat is my heartbeat. The beat is my heartbeat right now. Probably the best track on this project so far. Eminem, when he gets into this zany, weird, ideological warfare, I feel like this is when he's at his best. When he's at his most diabolical, not biological. Jesus Christ. When he's at his most diabolical, I feel like he comes up with these thoughts and these weird songs that are just so entertaining and so off the wall that you can't really help but just enjoy them for what they are. This could be another representation of America. You know, everything that's going on with mental illness and all the really sick, twisted situations that have been happening over the past couple months that get blamed on mental illness. And he's saying that this is, you know, basically he's got 3 personalities and they're all describing things that they've done, but in all honesty, it might just be the same person that's done all these things. They just are describing it in different situations, or Eminem is describing it in different situations as if it's so many different people when really it might just be one person. Track number 13, Nowhere Fast, featuring Kehlani. Bro, I'm not erect. I'm not hard at all. Okay. I like that he rapped over a violin. I think that was a violin, but track number 14, Heat.
To ass cheek implants, call that an asset. Cause you can set a glass on it, it's massive.
Call it an asset.
Broken, but I'm stiff as a statue. You set on a shelf, I feel like I'm a bust. Maybe I'm just ahead of myself.
No! As stiff as a statue. I feel like I'm about to bust. You sit it on a table like it's a bust, you know, because the head that you put on the table, it's just a bust. Oh God, Eminem, why?
Put you in a bowl like an arrow. Grab you by the hope it's not a problem. In fact, I put this palm on your cat. Don't snap. It's supposed to get grabbed. Why you think they call it a snatch? I just wanna climb in the sun. I'ma keep it for song. With an ass to match, girl, your body is lit. You're striking, I'm a gas, girl. You're just gonna have to breathe. My dog thinks so too. Look at my pedigree. The world is what I think of you. I think you're doing.
I just caught that line. My dog thinks so too. Look at my pet-agree, not pedigree. Jesus, Eminem, you never cease to amaze me. Let's go to track number 15, Offended.
So I just call it shoddy entertainment. Bells and chains sawing them in the basement. Hardly fit your job description. Ain't nobody dipping out the back of the club like, oh my God, he's tripping. Only time you get the plate is probably with the gang lawn equipment. Copying a feel like Bill Cosby at will. Popping a
Oh my God, why?
It's a cotton hit bomb, gun step bomb. While I'm hitting on net line. Hates me, they want me to go eat some worms. Drag my name through the mud, through the dirt, but I'ma make you eat your worms. He's in the caddy armrest, I'm amassing objects, so I'm batting cobwebs from yo and give a facial to an interracial blow up doll of Rachel Dolezal.
Oh my God, not Rachel.
I get why you tapped. catch a fire back, catch fire, get upset and fire back.
I get wiretapped. I like this.
Wish I had a dime for every time that I was doubted. What I wanted was to be the one that they was getting about.
Oh no. Oh no. I can't keep up now. Another really good song in my opinion. I like it. I like it. Lots of good bars. It was free of concept. Eminem with the filler lyrics and basically purposely putting all these things in his lyrics right now that offend people to show that people tend to be more upset with the person who offended them than the person who actually did the thing that's offensive. That and the fact that people just should stop being offended so easily, in my opinion. Maybe that's not the way he was trying to be for the song to be interpreted, but this is what I, feel from it. Next track, Need Me featuring Pink.
Each other and we're both adults and there's no excuse for the games.
This is the third time.
Cheating the king giver. Now you change, but I keep putting my stars for us because somebody paired us up and they say we ain't
Pink surprisingly is the best part of this song. I don't know how many of these tracks I'm gonna take if you're gonna give me the same subject matter. It's like the third song about this thing right now. So let's try track number 17, In Your Head.
tomorrow like tonight and starting life again. Get to the core and those are mine, so I'm picking them up and stuffing them back. Fuck it, I've done enough in this rap. You 80% of what I rapped about.
I get it. The Eminem's basically saying the perception of him isn't the reality of him. There's no lyrical density. I feel like there's passion within his voice. It's just one of those things that kind of goes without saying. Like most people, or I won't say most people, but a lot of people understand that the perception of you, or the perception people have of you, is not the reality of the situation all the time. And especially in Eminem's case, nobody really thinks that he is exactly as portrayed. Some of the stuff is just, I get it. You're telling me about something that a lot of people had it wrong about you, or a lot of people think one way and this is how it really is. But making a whole song about a misconception, I don't think it goes over well. Track number 18, Castle.
Barely support me, but as long as you're healthy, that's all that matters for the time being.
You know what this sounds like is that Sonic the Hedgehog outro, like the very ending battle. Go back and listen to it. I'm gonna try and put a clip in it right here, but it sounds just like that, the instrumental. That's what it reminds me of. I don't know why.
The same exact enthusiasm as I'm using in this letter, maybe they can feel me as.
So it's a tribute, like not a tribute, but like a song to his daughter, basically.
She is in the same size as mine are. Sorry for that, though mine. But I'ma do if it falls through. You took your first steps today, you probably walked soon. If I knew it'd be like this, if I did, I wouldn't have done it. You ain't asked for none of this shit. Now you're being punished. Things.
Very, very good song, Eminem. I like how there's a description for each and every point that, an updated letter is being written. And he says so before the start of each verse. So I'm definitely enjoying this song and it being a letter, an open letter to his daughter. I can respect that. Saying how he, how it was having a hard time, I guess, being a parent, because he's also having a hard time separating Slim Shady from who he really is. But I definitely enjoyed the song. Very, very touching, very moving. And I like to see, Eminem's basically a state of mind at each point. That's cool. And let's get to the last track on here, Arose.
Like a submarine, just heard that nurse say my liver and kidneys aren't functioning. Been close, I had the strength to just blow a kiss. I go to make a fist, but I can't make when I'm frozen stiff. Are you down with this? Tore me in two. The thought of, I see them cheeks soaking in wet as you squeeze hold of my neck. So force a lead and a breath. Machines go. Must have guessed the cheat code. Rewinding the tour. I put out this last album, then I'm done with it. 100% finished, fed up with it. I'm hanging it.
Okay.
Like a rematch, I'll do relapse with recovery.
Those last two songs tie into one another, so I definitely like that. I basically, him saying that if he had went down one road, then it would have led to one outcome. And, him basically saying he rewinded the tape, and this is the decision that he made is what led to him surviving and being able to make the album and being there for his daughters and being able to make the statement that he's making right now. I can completely appreciate that, and I like the open letter to his daughters. Those last two tracks were extremely powerful in my opinion. Definitely starlights for Eminem's career in my opinion. Clearly the situation had an extreme impact on him, so much so to the point where he feels like there was only one outcome had he not made this decision. I definitely feel like it kind of changes the mood or the pace of the final song from picturing him in this horrible situation to you know, feeling this sense of I guess happiness, or being happy for him for triumphing over the situation that he went through. Let's talk about the album as a whole, Revival, what it does, what it did, and how I'm feeling about it so far. Let me get to the things that I like about this project, because there aren't a lot of them, but the ones that I like are ones that I will be returning to and ones that I will hold near and dear to my heart. I like the idea and the concept that Eminem is accepting the fact that he's growing older, and he's taking us through the experience, at least in his eyes, as he gets older, as he becomes less relevant, as he becomes basically what he believes to be a shell of his former self. I like he's taking us through that journey on some of these tracks, and also helping us understand how he thinks and how he's being motivated to continue. Even though he knows he will never be the person he once was, he's still motivated to continue because that's just who he is, that's his drive, that's his purpose. There are some tracks on here where Eminem shows you just how strong of an MC he really is when he is on pace, when he is on beat, when he is one with the track, when he's not trying to do his own thing aside from music. I feel like one of Eminem's biggest issues prior to this project was making music in separation from the music, making it so that the person who's listening to the music has to do two jobs at once: pay attention to the song for its enjoyability and pay attention to Eminem for whatever enjoyability that he's trying to add to the track. But sometimes he's doing it in such a way that makes your focus steer away from the track itself, because he's doing his own thing. He's not on beat sometimes, he's using the stop and start flow. It doesn't show up as frequently on this entire project as it did on songs like Walk on Water and songs like Untouchable, because I believe on the track on tracks like River, tracks like Home, Bad Husband, Framed, Offended, Hassle, and Arose, I do believe these are all tracks where Eminem is intertwined, or has intertwined himself with the musicality of all these tracks, and not just off doing his own thing while the song plays in the background behind him. I believe him exposing himself as a flow master and being able to completely ride these beats, even though some of them are very consistent or some would consider very repetitive. I think the fact that he's still able to make these songs enjoyable, even having 3 verses in majority of these, is just goes to show his skill as an MC and his entertainment factor. It didn't really feel like an hour and 18 minutes listening to this entire project. Some tracks were a little bit lengthier, some of them wish could be ended earlier. Another thing I like about this project is the features actually perform very, very well, better than I thought they would. I definitely thought some of their performances and some of their inclusions into these tracks would be a little bit more cheesy and handled in a not so stellar way, but I think they are handled pretty nice, and I think the features, even aside from Eminem, can be enjoyed solo. I love that Eminem's wordplay kind of takes a little bit of a backseat. He's had a habit of making sure there's heavy emphasis on some of the better lines in his discography, whereas on this project he just says it freely. And I like on some tracks Eminem tries to modernize himself by switching up his cadence, like on Believe, where he kind of modernizes himself to a certain degree. But all of that being said, I don't think is enough to steer me away from the fact that this is a very weak political statement as an album. Whatever message Eminem was trying to convey, the cohesive aspect that is required to make a politically charged statement just isn't there for this project. It's a little bit scattered, it's all over the place. Eminem tries to include aspects of his personal life into an album that is represented itself as something that's supposed to be political. I would say one of the worst parts about this project is the fact that the features outdo Eminem on his own tracks. The features sound like they're supposed to be there. Eminem doesn't. And I'm thinking beforehand, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and saying that these pop features may have been included to get more people interested in the album so that he could deliver some kind of politically charged message. That doesn't happen. Half of the time he spends chastising people for doing things that have been done for years. Not really a politically charged statement, just disappointed in the state of America. But he's not saying anything that's foreign. I like how in a good amount of these tracks he puts himself in the perspective of the average American by putting them in an abuse situation, situation, putting them in a cheating situation, putting them in a liberal situation, putting them in a stalker situation, putting them in a sex fiend situation, putting them in a just not so enjoyable situation like Bad Husband. But half of the tracks in this project don't even stick to the theme of the album well enough for me to justify all of them. The ones that are the most politically charged are Untouchable, Like Home, and Offended. Those are 3 out of 19 tracks that have some political backing to them. Other tracks he spends, you know, name dropping Ivanka Trump and some of the other Trump family members, but he doesn't say anything that's wild enough for me to say, wow, he really made a statement. This definitely garners a response from Donald Trump, which Eminem uses on this project for, why do you want Donald Trump to respond to you? Is this why you're talking to him? Who cares? Who honestly cares if Donald Trump responds to you? That's not the purpose for you making this project. Eminem doesn't have a clear message in this album, so you don't know if his disappointment is in the state of America or if his disappointment is in himself. He spends half of this album talking specifically about himself. The final 3 tracks where he's talking about how if he made the wrong move, basically, he wouldn't be here. People having a misconception of him and thinking that he's one way when he's not. I mean, he comes back to the same issues and arguments time and time again in this album, even as far as relationship issues are concerned. Eminem sees fit to talk relationships in 3 different songs on this project. Some of the tracks seem to have no point at all, like Heat. I mean, it's a song and it's got content that contextually can fit the point of the song, but what does it mean for the album? It's just there, awkwardly. Unfortunately, as much as I like Phresher, his contribution to the album is so minuscule. And if Eminem was gonna make an album like this, I don't see why he wouldn't include other rappers. He just comes across as incredibly narcissistic, almost to the point where it's like, I'm the only person that can get this message across, which is why no one else is featured on these songs rapping with me. When in reality, some of these concepts have been done better by other folks, especially in regards to the political undertone that some of these songs have. The beat selections are not traditional hip hop, which I understand, but even though they're not traditional hip hop, that doesn't make them interesting either. There's no real experimentation going on. You know, there's very simple things happening. It's either bass or an instrument in the background, and Eminem sees fit to rap over it, and that's it. The only tracks on here that I do really enjoy are the ones where Eminem is perfectly on beat and giving that energy, but the beat is also raw. I would say my best description for this project is a bomb that doesn't know where it wants to go off. Eminem is the bomb, but doesn't know where to put himself. Like, he doesn't know if he wants to explode on politics, on the president, on American people, or on himself. There's no message on this body of work that's cohesive enough, at least throughout the entire project, that leads me to believe that Eminem has one target here. The way he totes himself on the album cover. I think some of these tracks representing the state of America are cool, and I think the inclusion of his personal life in some of these tracks are cool too. But I feel like Eminem is just far too scatterbrained on this project for me to say that it's meant for one thing. He'd have been better off making an album cover where his body is cut up into a million pieces, as opposed to making himself seem like he's disappointed in the state of the world. Going back to the feature list, a lot of these songs sound just like Eminem songs from back in 2010, 2009. So who exactly are you reviving? Ideas that you've already used, song topics you've already tackled, features done in a very formulaic way, beats that aren't traditional hip-hop but aren't experimental either. When he's good on this album, he's very entertaining, but when he's not, it's literally skippable. The entire track. And I say there are elements in a song that I might like from time to time. The tracks on here that you don't like are completely skippable. I would say 5 or 6 songs I would 100% return to. Everything else, no. No. It's not like some of these tracks are amazing and the others that aren't are just okay or tolerable. It's like these are the best tracks and everything else is just not working. But let's see what you guys think about this thing in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your opinion. From what I can see and my level of enjoyment, what I'm getting from the Eminem new album, Eminem Revival, that's how I'm feeling. It's been Shawn C. Thank you for watching. Like I said before, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, I don't have any control over that. Definitely going to be hitting you up with some final thoughts in a couple days, so stay tuned for that. But as far as my hot take, it's okay, and in other aspects, it's not. And the ones that are okay are great. The ones that aren't, trash. It's Shawn C. I'll see you next time, and I'm out. Peace.